So I teased I was going to do this video when I reviewed the Black Series Tartakovsky-style Mace Windu you see on the left. And speaking of seeing, this is going to be a very conversation-heavy video. There's not going to be a lot of visual. So if you kind of want to, do something and like have this on in the background, feel free. I'm just kind of going to be rambling and kind of discussing my thoughts and opinions on Hasbro's 6-inch action figures, because they are the industry standard. They are the golden staple of toy and action figure collecting nowadays. When like someone says, "Oh, I collect toys," or like, "I like action figures," some of the first questions: you buy Marvel Legends, you buy Black Series, G.I. Joe Classified, like it's all the Hasbro 6-inch stuff. Hasbro 6-inch like dominates toy collecting. I've had people ask, "Oh, so you collect action figures, you collect Black Series?" But I'm like, no, I actually really only do the vintage collection ones. I get Black Series Clone Troopers, but that's pretty much it. And some people are like, "Oh, surely, you got that G.I. Joe jacket on. Do you collect G.I. Joe Classified?" I've got some of my favorite characters. I've got like 10 figures, which is quite a bit, but given how we're already like on 60 plus, that's not a lot compared to what others have. It's something where I have never been super invested in the 6-inch action figure collecting, while tons of other people, like, it's their main thing. Everything needs to be 1/12 scale. 1/12 scale, that's all I collect. Me, I love all different kinds of toys. Now, granted, because I love all different kinds of toys, I think 6-inch action figures can be pretty cool. So I have a decent amount of them. But when it comes to collecting them and having the same thing over and over and over, it gets very boring for me. So let's rewind the clock to the beginning of my 6-inch action figure collecting days. Actually, let's rewind it even further back to the introduction of 6-inch action figures into my life. Toy Biz Marvel Legends. Those were the very first 6-inch action figures that I ever really had and laid my hands on. The main ones were Urban Legends Spider-Man. My brother had the Marvel Legends Wave 1 Captain America. Those are pretty much my first 6-inch action figures, and I thought they were pretty cool. That Spidey was one of my favorite Spider-Man figures in my whole collection, because one of my first collections I ever had was like Spider-Man, just different Spider-Man toys. I took a picture of all my Spider-Mans on my couch for a preschool assignment. It was my first collection, and I loved that Urban Legends. I thought they were cool. And as I started getting a little older and I started looking at Marvel Legends as they returned for the era of like Return of Marvel Legends, when Hasbro was really kicking it back into gear, I was pretty interested in them. I didn't really buy many at first, but I always looked at them on the shelves and I'm like, they look really cool. One of the first ones that made me decide to like dip in and start taking a look was the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Spider-Man figure, and that was pretty solid. It was kind of really new to me, having this 6-inch Spider-Man. And I decided, let's get some Iron Man ones. Let's get Carnage. I ended up getting a Venom, and, I just kind of had like a few, and I thought they were really cool. I wasn't going all in and everything. And then I kind of got introduced to a certain new toy line called Star Wars The Black Series. When that came out in 2013, nearly 10 years ago. Keep that in mind, nearly 10 years ago when Black Series came out. Oh my gosh. When it was first introduced, I was like, this seems really cool, but I don't think I want to get everything. I'll just get some of my favorites. So the first Black Series I got was the Sand Trooper. And again, I thought it was super cool. Like, 6-inch, really detailed. Like, that Sand Trooper was something else compared to, like, a standard 3 3/4-inch figure. That 6-inch Sand Trooper from Wave 1. The sculpt was done by Gentle Giant, and it looked gorgeous. The paint was covered in weathering. Detail through the roof. Any accessory you would want for that Sand Trooper, you got. It was a great release. And then Boba Fett was one of the next ones I got, and I was like, okay, it's pretty cool. I could tell it was kind of limited and everything, but I kind of liked it. And I was still a little selective with Black Series, but when The Force Awakens was ramping up and those were starting to release, I was full throttle Black Series. I decided to go back and get all the ones I missed before. I pretty much had a complete Black Series collection up until around mid-2016. I had it all. Every single one. And I started to realize something. They kind of dropped off in quality pretty quick. And before I knew it, I was looking at like a 6-inch Black Series figure and the 3 3/4 inch one that I had for, 5+ years. Because also, for a bit of additional context, if you don't know me, I have a very comprehensive 3 3/4 inch Star Wars collection. I have a lot. Pretty much any character I have. I don't have some of the super obscure rare Legends ones, don't care. But like with the movies and the main, significant characters, I've got those like 10 times over in 3 3/4 inch. And I was just looking, and I was like, why do I have the same thing but a few inches taller? Because I noticed I was just putting so much money into the same thing and the quality had dropped off, and I stopped playing with them. Because 6-inch action figures before that Spider-Man I'd gotten and that Sand Trooper, they were so much more posable and intricate than 3 3/4 inch figures I had prior. I was really invested in them. I thought they were really cool. So, what turned into just having like a few like fun hand-candy action figures turned into these whole shelves. I got all the Guardians of the Galaxy. I started getting to Avengers, Marvel Legends, MCU. Started getting a few other Marvel Legends here and there. And I was at first like, okay, with Black Series, I have this 3 3/4 inch collection already. I don't need them in 6-inch, so I got rid of a lot. And as time went on, I sold more and more and more. And now my Black Series collection, I can tell you, is about 5 Imperials, this Mace Windu, Grievous, a battle droid, Jango, Boba, carbonized Paz Vizsla, and every clone trooper that has been made. That's my Black Series collection. So it's not too much, but it's still a decent amount. And I'm pretty happy with a lot of the ones that I kept. A lot of them are still really fun, unique figures for me. And I think they're cool. However, I cut it. I just straight up cut it because I realized that, this line doesn't really serve its purpose for army building because they're so big, and having a massive army of these takes up so much space and it's so expensive. And I was pretty happy with that choice. Now, granted, Black Series, they keep producing characters in 6-inch that we may never see in 3 3/4 inch. I'm okay with that. I can live with it. It's a little bothersome, especially, we have the Navarro Cantina playset, but we don't even have the client in that same scale, even though he was the character that really was there. They've had some odd choices with the character selections. But still, I'm pretty happy with that choice to get rid of Black Series. And then Marvel Legends, I was looking at those, and before I knew it, boom, I had like all the MCU Avengers, I had so many. And for me, Marvel Legends, let me scoot some of these figures back. Like, 6-inch action figures to me are, at their core, supposed to be super fun. And this, Renew Your Vow Spider-Man, I did do a head swap with the Scarlet Spider, kind of Ben Reilly. I think it's this Ben Reilly Spider-Man, the retro one. This figure is actually one of my favorite 6-inch action figures in my collection, period. It's the most fun, it's the most posable, it's amazing, and I adore it. It's super fun, and that's what they're supposed to be to me. They're fun toys. And a lot of the MCU Marvel Legends I had just felt like little plastic interpretations of actors and costumes. I started buying them, and I'm like, oh, cool, and I put it on the shelf. That's not what a 6-inch action figure should be for me. And that's where this Mace Windu comes in, because I got this more recently. And I was like, oh, cool, Mace Windu. I have this because it looks like the Tartakovsky's show. I put it on the shelf a couple days after I bought it. I didn't pose it around. It feels very generic, because the thing with Hasbro 6-inch action figures, they've become so oversaturated for me. They're so oversaturated. They do so much. There's so much that they make. And they're starting Indiana Jones and Dungeons and Dragons. It's how much can you innovate an action figure at this scale? And even stuff like G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe is one of my favorite toy lines from when I was a kid. And I really love some of the G.I. Joe classified figures because they still capture that fun action figure feel, like the Spider-Man right here. And I think they're great. However, ones like this Crimson Guard, I noticed that, it feels very similar to ones I already have. There goes Shredder. It feels very similar. And before I knew it, about a week or two after I got this guy, I just put him on the shelf. It's still fun to mess with. I love the Crimson Guard. It's my favorite, Cobra Trooper version. I love the Crimson Guard. And I still really enjoy this action figure. It's the best Crimson Guard Hasbro's ever made, without a doubt. But I just found myself not super excited about it, because it wasn't bringing anything new to the table. So I just was kind of like, yeah, cool. It's nice. And I just kind of put it on the shelf. However, I have the Shredder here from the Power Rangers Ninja Turtle crossover, because this is similar to the Spider-Man, where this is super cool. It's super innovative. It's a Power Ranger Shredder. He's the Green Ranger. He's massive. He's got this cool cape. The sculpt is awesome. The feel of it's really fun. It's pinless. And I think the pinless really helps with action figures in general, especially the Hasbro ones. They feel so much better when they're pinless. It's great. It's a great figure. And then, a little bit later, I got the Foot Soldier for my brother. He was just like, hey, I bought this Foot Soldier, don't really want it anymore. It's like the Tommy Foot Soldier that goes with the Shredder. I got it, and I'm like, it's cool. It's pretty similar to other ones I already have, so I just stood it next to Shredder. I didn't play with it. I didn't really enjoy it much. And then it just, I kind of realized more recently, like, 6-inch action figures to me, for what I am as a toy collector, I love unique toys that offer something different, something special. And looking around and looking at my toy collection, a lot of what I have are like Transformers and Gundam and robots. Because with Gundam models, and you build them and like they're built a different way each time, and they always have different nuances, different points of articulation, different little gimmicks and things, because they're robots. Robots have so much more functionality than just a person in a costume. And Transformers they kind of speak for themselves. Many Transformers are super special and unique from each other. Sure, there's a lot of repaints in the line. However, I try my best to avoid repaints where I can, unless it's iconic, like the Seekers or, Prowl, Smokescreen, etc. I look at my Transformers and like each one is so different and offers something so unique. I would take a mediocre Transformer over an above average 6-inch action figure any day. Because a 6-inch action figure, like, ball jointed head, ball hinge shoulder, swivel elbow, double jointed elbow, swivel at the bicep, it's all the same. It's all the same. And I feel like if you're wanting to collect characters, especially for me, I still love collecting characters from Star Wars. I go for the 3 3/4 inch ones, because not only are they cheaper, they're more massable because they're such a smaller size. There's definitely a lot more depth into the character selection at a scale that small. And they've also reached a point where quality-wise, look-wise, articulation-wise, they're just as good as Black Series. They're just as good. Like, they're the same thing but smaller. So why would I collect both scales? Why? And there's so much more interactivity with it, and I enjoy the vehicles. I want to build dioramas for them someday. And I feel like with 6-inch, it's just so much harder to make dioramas, to do this and that. Now, granted, 6-inch is a way better scale for customizing. So if you like customizing your action figures, 6-inch, there's, a standard body. You could repaint it and sculpt different pieces on it, repaint. It's easier to 3D print and have resin casts of, different heads and accessories for 6-inch. It's a better scale to work with in that department. But for me, with customizing, I'm not really in it for that. I prefer, just having like, oh, here's a clone trooper in a different color. Or oh, here's camouflage on my Zaku. That's what I kind of do with customizing. So there's pros and cons to each. And unfortunately for me, the pros of 6-inch aren't really what I am looking for in a collection. So going back to Marvel Legends, like I said, Avengers and tons of MCU stuff and just random ones. I got rid of about a third of all my Marvel Legends, which is quite a bit. It's quite a bit getting rid of that many. I feel fine about it though. I feel fine about it. A lot of those figures I never touched. I looked at my MCU shelf and I'm like, I keep the ones in the front that I always play with. So Civil War Cap, Deadpool, Wolverine from Logan, Netflix Daredevil. I kept all those in the front. So I'm like, those are the ones I play with. All the others are just sitting there. And I feel like a 6-inch action figure, its purpose should be to pick up and pose and have fun and play with. And just having them sit and rot on a shelf, I just don't feel it. It's not for me. It's not for me. 6-inch collecting is not for me. Because I like to pose and play with them. And I feel like just having all these posable, playable things that are just the same thing over and over and over again, just for the sake of having these different characters on the shelf, it's just not doing it for me. If I'm going to have tons of different characters, I'd rather them be smaller and more massable and easier to display with environments and vehicles and things. Is 6-inch a bad scale to collect? If it was a bad scale, it wouldn't be so popular, obviously. A lot of people have no issue with the repetition of 6-inch action figures. Each and every single one of them is fun to them. And that's fine. That's awesome. But they're often more than not like just a 6-inch action figure collector. Now, granted, some still dabble in, some retro stuff, some Transformers here and there. But when I see a lot of 6-inch collections, that's like the main thing they have, 6-inch action figures. And yeah, if you want to have everything in that same scale because it's the industry standard, that's perfectly fine. Like, 6-inch collecting is not a bad thing. It's cool. I have hundreds of 6-inch action figures, even after I've cut back. A lot of them not being from Hasbro, though. Even though I do have a lot of Iron Mans from Marvel Legends still. I've got a lot of Iron Mans and a lot of Clone Troopers. I've got a whole cardboard lid tray full of Black Series clones right now from when I'm gonna redo my shelf in a little bit. I've got a lot still, but they lose interest in me. Like even the Clone Trooper ones. I get a new 6-inch Clone Trooper, I open it, and I'm like, oh cool, and I put it on the shelf. Now granted, it's a Clone Trooper. I like it a little bit more than just Joe Schmo from MCU movie number 35. But I think I've pretty much said my piece. I've kind of repeated myself a lot here. I enjoy 6-inch action figures, but I enjoy them like I enjoy Krispy Kreme donuts. I get Krispy Kreme donuts for special occasions. Birthday, something good happening at work. Back when I was still in school, finishing a semester, I only got them for special occasions. If I were to get them as every single kind of donut every single week, if Krispy Kreme donuts were my only sweet treat that I gave myself, I would get bored of them. And that's basically what Marvel Legends and 6-inch Hasbro stuff is for me. Yes, they're good. They're good. Like Black Series, after I left it, they have put out some good stuff. But in many ways, I feel like if I got them too much, it would kind of ruin it for me. And in some cases, like the Mace Windu that I got and I just put on the shelf, that is just the standard glazed Krispy Kreme donut. It's good. It's good. You have it. You're like, yeah, it's good. But then Spidey, this is the chocolate icing cream filled Krispy Kreme donut. That is the mwah, chef's kiss. That is the yes, please give me more of that. that is the special one. So yeah, they're all nice. They're all good. But for me, I just don't want them in the capacity that other people do. So a lot of people have asked me, oh, you're going to get this new Black Series thing, oh, what do you think about the new Marvel Legends? And I'm like, yeah, they're cool. Out of the day I'm filming this, Marvel Legends has revealed a ton of stuff. A ton. I'm like, I'll get that Iron Man Mark 1. I'll get that one. Out of all of them, I'll just get that one Iron Man. That's it. That's it for me. It's funny. But hey, you know what? Even though I don't collect 6-inch action figures like a lot of other people do, I collect tons of other toys. I just love toys in general, and 6-inch action figures are just a facet of toy collecting. They're just the industry standard right now, and they're the ones that are very prominent and very distinct and the most popular. So in some ways, I kind of feel left out because I don't focus on them. If I focused on them more, maybe more people would appreciate my collection or my YouTube channel or whatever. But no, man, I'm here for everything. That's why my channel is such a mess of Transformers and vintage collection and Marvel Legends and Gundam and this, that, and the other. I love toys, dude. I love toys. Like, just digging next to me in my box of things I need to figure out. Here's a Zevos figure from when I was a kid. I've got a Zevos right there. Here's a customized Master Chief I got in the P.O. box I haven't done anything with. Here's an old Rock'em Sock'em Robot guy. You know, I've got tons of different toys. I just love toys. Here's a Stickbot I got at the thrift store. I love toys. You know, it's more to me than just 6-inch action figures. I think I've made my point. I've rambled on for 20 minutes. I think I'm just repeating myself at this point. Alrighty. There we go, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm starting to end it, but I feel like I have something else to say. Man, I have something else to say. I need to show one toy that helped me realize this. I'm going to show one toy. And it's funny, I started the outro, but like we're not done yet. I'm so rambly in these kind of videos. But hey, you guys say you like it. I'm going to wheel him in. He's actually right by my desk because I love him that much. This toy is a large influence for me and why I decided to not only sell off a lot of 6-inch figures, but cut back buying them. Here is TIE Tank. This thing was so remarkable and revolutionary when I spent the $110 on it for me that I told myself this one single toy right here, this TIE Tank, it has the value of what? 4 Marvel Legends? Like, that's the value for it. The enjoyment I've gotten out of this TIE Tank is equivalent to 10, 15, like 15 Marvel Legends. Like, all of them, it's like they total this in excitement. Like, this one thing that I got. And it changed me. I got it and I was just like, what am I doing buying these action figures I just open up and put on the shelf when their purpose is to pose around? You know, why am I doing that? Why am I spending my money on things I'm not appreciating that should be appreciated? That's because I don't like them. That's why. So that's why I've done this. However, figures like, especially the Shredder and this Spider-Man, especially the Spider-Man, these are the keepers. These are the ones that really show me that, like, yeah, even though they're not all for me, even though having a massive shelf, like a bookshelf just full of the same, like, Spider-Man, like, that's not for me. Something like this changes my collecting life, and I adore it. Okay, now we're ending the video. I think I have made my cases, I've made my points, I've rambled on long enough. Thank you guys so much for watching. Special shout out to the channel members as well. Thank you all so much for your continued support. And let me know what you think down in the comments, guys. Just let me know. Just say your piece. Let me know. Thank you for sticking with me through the end of the video. If you got to the end, post in the comments 6-inch Master Race. How about that? That's a bit of a joke in the collecting community. 6-inch Master Race. Post that in the comments, like at the end of your comment. 6-inch Master Race. If you got to the end, I will know if you did that. Alrighty, guys. Have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.